The doorbell rang at exactly 6 p.m. Not 5:59. Not 6:01. 6. On the dot. Like life had suddenly decided to synchronize with disaster. I was in the middle of prepping my legendary lemon garlic roast, something I only made on nights I felt good, and lately, those nights had been rare. But that evening, I had hope. Things had been tense between Amanda and me, sure, but I thought we were turning a corner. We'd even made plans. Real plans. The kind that sound like vows without the paperwork. Europe next summer. Fix the back deck. Try for a kid. I opened the door with a towel still slung over my shoulder and a quiet smile on my face. And there he stood, wearing a leather jacket 3 sizes too cool for someone with frosted tips and the IQ of warm milk, holding a bouquet of half-dead roses like he was auditioning for The Bachelor, parking lot edition. "Is Amanda home?" he asked. I stared at him. No words, just eyebrows. He blinked, like I was the one being rude. "She invited me." "I see," I said slowly, the way a surgeon talks before slicing open a chest. He glanced past me like he was trying to spot her, which was a mistake, because it gave me time to observe him fully. Tight jeans, nervous bounce in his step, a silver bracelet that looked more like a teenage girl's lost accessory than anything masculine. "Who are you?" I finally asked. He smiled. "Travis." Travis. Of course his name was Travis. Before I could respond, Amanda's voice floated down the stairs. "Babe, did he show up early? Tell him I'm almost ready." Babe. Not honey. Not love. Not even my name. I didn't say anything. I just stepped aside. Travis brushed past me like I was the butler in a movie he thought he was starring in. Amanda came down wearing the red dress. The one I bought her last year in Barcelona. Said it made her feel dangerous. "Hey, Trav," she said, grinning like a teenage girl sneaking out the window. She didn't look at me. Not once. I folded the towel in my hands and walked back to the kitchen. Turned off the oven. Took the roast out and placed it gently on the stovetop. "You're not mad, right?" she said, finally following me. "We talked about this." "We didn't talk," I said, staring at the roast. "You talked. I listened. And I remember you specifically saying, it's just harmless texting." Amanda exhaled like I was being so dramatic. "It's not a big deal, okay? We're just getting drinks. You and I, we've been stuck. This is a reset." I nodded slowly. "Reset. Got it." Then she added, almost too quickly, "You're still coming to my company's fundraiser Friday, right? I need you to wear that gray suit. The one that makes you look powerful." I looked up at her. "You want me to play husband on Friday, while you date Travis on Thursday?" She winced. "It's not like that." "Of course it is," I said. "You're just not used to people calling it what it is." That stopped her for a second, but only for a second. Then she grabbed her coat and called out, "Don't wait up." And just like that, they were gone. No goodbye, no guilt, just the sound of her heels fading down the driveway and a roast getting cold in a house suddenly too quiet. I didn't throw the plate. I didn't scream. I just picked up my phone and opened a file I hadn't looked at in 5 months. The one labeled contingency, because I knew this day might come. And I was ready. That night, I didn't drink, didn't rant, didn't call my buddies or torch the group chat with screenshots and rage. I just sat down at my desk, opened the bottom drawer, and pulled out a manila envelope I'd labeled insurance policy, back when things first started feeling off. You ever notice how liars get lazy? Amanda started getting sloppy in May. At first, it was just the late meetings. Then the locked phone. Then the sudden obsession with being unavailable every third Thursday because of some networking mixer at a bar downtown that just coincidentally had no sign, no social media, and a $20 cover charge. I'd hired someone, a private investigator, not because I didn't trust her, because I didn't trust how calm she was getting while I unraveled inside. The envelope had 47 photographs. One for every day she told me she was somewhere she wasn't. There she was at yoga, sitting at an outdoor cafe with Travis, his hand resting just a little too far up her leg. There she was at the dentist, wearing a black cocktail dress and checking into a hotel across town. Guess those molars needed champagne and mood lighting. One photo, though, that one burned. It was her, in our living room. Same dress, same smirk, Travis on the couch. But behind them, my laptop, open. She'd used it. I don't know why that bothered me more than the cheating, but it did. You don't betray someone in their own browser history. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. This wasn't heartbreak. This was confirmation. Amanda had underestimated me. She thought I was a footnote in my own story. And that was her first mistake. The next morning, I went to work like nothing happened. Smiled at my coworkers. Nodded at Carl from accounting. Grabbed coffee for Jessica from HR because I'm a gentleman, even when my home life is a crime scene. But while I was balancing spreadsheets, I was also balancing a plan. Because Amanda wasn't just cheating. She was planning. Her texts with Travis were full of things like, he'll fold if we pressure him, and just be patient. I've almost got the paperwork where we need it. I had access to her iCloud. She didn't know that. I knew everything. The shell companies. The secret account in her maiden name. The prenup loophole she thought I'd forgotten about. I hadn't. See, I wasn't the dumb, predictable husband. I was the quiet one. The one who watches. Records. Files away the facts while the performance plays out on stage. I gave her all the rope she needed. All I had to do now was wait for her to hang herself with it. 3 days passed. Amanda came home smelling like citrus and cologne that didn't belong to me. She kissed me on the cheek with the same mouth that whispered to Travis about ending this cleanly. "Did you mail the RSVP for the fundraiser?" she asked, peeling off her coat. I nodded. "Done. Table 7. Prime rib." She smiled. "Good. This one's important." And just like that, she poured herself a glass of wine, curled up on the couch, and started talking about donors and speeches and floral centerpieces, like we were still the couple people envied at parties. I watched her talk, smiled in all the right places. Meanwhile, across town, a package had just arrived at Travis's apartment. Unmarked envelope. Inside, a USB drive. I didn't send it, but I knew who did, because I'd hired her. Let me introduce Dina. Dina used to work in PR for politicians. Her specialty? Controlled explosions. I'd reached out through a friend of a friend, paid her half up front, and promised the other half if Amanda publicly burned. Dina didn't do threats. She did consequences, and she didn't wait around. At work the next day, Amanda called me in a panic. Did you send something to Travis?" I paused. Why would I do that? There's video, photos, emails, from my iCloud, from your computer. I sipped my coffee slowly. That's crazy. You think someone hacked you? Silence. She didn't know what to say, because this wasn't part of her script. In her version, I was supposed to explode, cry, rage, leave. Instead, I was calm, reasonable, sympathetic, even. And that's what terrified her. Because only one type of man smiles like that when his world falls apart. The kind who already has a backup plan. That night, she tried something new. She cooked steak. Her apology meal. The one with too much butter and not enough truth. She sat across from me at the dinner table, chin trembling just enough to pass as remorse. "Can we just start over?" she asked, eyes glossy. I set my fork down. "We can try. I mean, mistakes happen, right?" She smiled, relief crashing over her. "But you know what else happens," I added, leaning in. Her smile wavered. "Audits." I'd contacted a forensic accountant the same day I saw Travis's hand on her leg. He traced every transaction Amanda had made for the last 18 months. Hidden income, ghost invoices, a whole fake consulting gig she invented with Travis to funnel company money under the radar. Fraud, federal, fun. I slid a single sheet across the table, printed email headers, a bank transfer, and a timestamp from her office login. Amanda didn't speak, didn't blink. She just stared at the paper like it was a death certificate with her name on it. I cleared my plate and stood. "You're going to go to the fundraiser," I said. "You're going to smile. You're going to act like everything is perfect." "Or what?" she whispered. I turned at the doorway. "Or Dina releases everything." She didn't follow me upstairs, but I heard her cry. Not because she felt guilty, because she'd just realized the game she was playing wasn't chess. It was checkmate. The ballroom was dressed to impress. Crystal chandeliers, navy blue linens, high-dollar wine poured like tap water, and enough fake smiles to drown in. Amanda stood at the center of it all. Red lips, black dress, diamond earrings I bought her 2 anniversaries ago, when I still believed anniversaries meant something. She clinked glasses with donors and board members, laughing like nothing in her world was burning. The same performance she always gave, graceful, poised, practiced. But tonight, she was playing under a different kind of light. She didn't know it yet, but every smile aimed her way was carefully placed. Every compliment, scripted. Every handshake, monitored. Because Dina had arrived. not in a trench coat and sunglasses. That's not her style. She walked in like a former Miss America who now ran Fortune 500 companies. Hair pulled back tight, sleek black suit, clipboard in one hand, and a Bluetooth earpiece like a weapon. Red dress. Corner table. Scans clean. Confidence level. High. She whispered into the mic. I was 10 feet away, sipping bourbon and playing invisible, which is easy when people think you've already lost. Amanda saw me and smiled. Public smile. The kind that begged, don't make this harder than it has to be. But I wasn't here to make it harder. I was here to make it final. The fundraiser was for her company's new Women in Leadership campaign. Big sponsors. Bigger egos. Half the room wanted a selfie with Amanda. The other half wanted to be her. She took the stage at 8:03. Flawless. Confident. No stutter, no nerves. I knew that version of her. That was the Amanda I fell for. She had them. Every single one of them. Hooked like a fish on silk. Until the screens behind her flickered. No sound. Just a slow, looping slideshow. A calendar. Emails. A $32,000 transfer to a shell account titled Eclipse Strategy Group, a company that does not, and has never, existed. Then came a grainy security camera still. Amanda. Lobby of the Blackstone Hotel. Travis behind her. Timestamp. A day she had told her boss she was on a site visit out of state. More slides. Each one more detailed. All subtle. Nothing overt. Just enough to raise questions. Doubt. Whispers. I didn't need to ruin her life. I just needed her reputation to bleed slowly, where everyone could watch. She kept speaking, but her rhythm faltered. Her throat dried. Her hand gripped the podium a little tighter. The slideshow disappeared. The screen went black. 5 seconds. That's all Dina needed. Enough to sow suspicion. Enough to start the questions that Amanda couldn't answer without unraveling the whole lie. The applause when she finished? Thinner than usual. A second too late. A fraction too polite. She stepped down from the stage, scanning the crowd with the eyes of a cornered animal. She spotted me again. But this time, her smile was gone. Outside, I lit a cigarette I hadn't touched in 6 years. I don't smoke. Not really. But something about the act, the defiance of it, felt right. A statement in smoke and silence. Amanda stormed through the exit doors behind me, heels clacking like gunshots on marble. What the hell was that? She hissed. What was what? Don't play dumb, Logan. Dumb's not really my style, Amanda. Yours, maybe. Her eyes burned, but her voice dropped. You're trying to sabotage me. Do you know what you've done? I shrugged. I'm just a guy in a gray suit. You're the one laundering funds with your boyfriend in company accounts. You don't have proof. I stepped closer. I have everything. Emails. Passwords. Your paper trail. And Travis? Dina's been talking to him all week. Her mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. That's a lie. Is it? I flicked ash off the cigarette. He met her for lunch yesterday. Thought he was getting scouted for a startup pitch. Dina asked all the right questions. He told her everything. Thought she was impressed. Man can't resist talking when he thinks someone's listening. Amanda staggered back a step. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just froze. Like a statue with too many cracks. You planned this, she whispered. You've been planning this the whole time. Since May, I said. When you lied about being at your mother's, and I found your location pinging from the Blackstone Hotel. Her hand trembled. I loved you. No, I said quietly. You loved being adored. She left before dessert. I stayed. Took my seat at table 7, where the prime rib was excellent and the wine flowed freely. Dina sat across from me, unbothered, cool as stone. She'll spin it, she said. She'll play victim. Blame stress. Maybe even blame you. I know. But the damage is done. You'll get the house. The business stuff will settle. You won't need to expose the fraud, just hint at it. Her board will do the rest. Perfect. We toasted. To quiet revenge. To clean exits. To the art of staying 10 steps ahead of someone who thought she'd already won. Amanda forgot one thing about me. She thought I was predictable. Simple. Safe. But the truth is, when you hand a man a grenade and turn your back, you better hope he never figures out how to pull the pin. Because when I did, I didn't throw it. I placed it. Gently. Precisely. Right under her throne. And smiled as the foundation cracked. The morning after the fundraiser, Amanda didn't show up to her office. No surprise there. By 9 a.m., the rumor mill was already on fire. The slideshow hadn't even needed names, just hints. Context. Dates. People aren't stupid, especially not corporate vultures who've been circling her title for years. And in that building, where polished smiles were currency and secrets traveled faster than Slack messages, Amanda's silence said more than any press release ever could. I wasn't there to see it, of course, but I had eyes. Two of them, in fact. One in reception, one in finance. By 10 a.m., someone from the board had called for a closed-door clarification session. Translation: sit down and explain why your name's all over a phantom company receiving donor funds. Meanwhile, I was at the gym. Deadlifts. Calm playlist. Heartbeat like a monk's. Dina sent me a text mid-set. Stage 2 initiated. She's cornered. Travis is about to fold. I smiled. Not because she was suffering. Because she had made the mistake of thinking this was about her. It wasn't. This was about me finally being free and letting her hang herself with the rope she thought she'd used to lead me around. By noon, Travis cracked. We knew he would. He wasn't built for pressure. Amanda liked her men soft, pliable, easy to manipulate. And Travis? He folded like a lawn chair in a thunderstorm. He'd been brought into the board meeting, not as a participant, but as evidence. Dina's decoy email thread, which she'd baited him into with promises of startup funding, had been forwarded to Amanda's board, complete with financial projections, discussions of invisible ownership, and, my personal favorite, a voice memo where Travis said, "Once Logan's out of the way, it's all ours." There's something magical about a man planning a takeover he'll never live to see. According to Dina's guy in the room, Travis turned pale, then green, then corporate gray. Said he was manipulated. Said Amanda had promised everything would be clean. That she had the connections, the legal advice, the paper trail under control. Except she didn't. Because I had it. By 2 p.m., Amanda was escorted out of the building. Not fired. Not yet. Too many legal strings. But placed on leave. Her access revoked. Her devices collected. She texted me. "Amanda, they know. What did you do?" Me. I watched. I waited. I documented. "Amanda, you ruined me." Me. No. You did that. I just let the camera roll. She didn't reply. I half expected her to show up at my office. Or outside the gym. Or home. Instead, she went silent. It was almost disappointing. But I wasn't done yet. That night, she came home. Not storming in. Not pleading. Just walked in like a tenant who'd lost the lease but still had a key. She looked smaller. Not in stature, but in presence. Like the mask had been yanked off mid-performance, and now she wasn't sure who to be. "I know it was you," she said. I didn't bother confirming. She sat at the edge of the couch. Same spot she used to curl into during movie nights. Back when I mattered. "I was trying to get out," she whispered. "You wouldn't let go." I raised an eyebrow. "So your solution was to bankrupt me?" "I wasn't going to bankrupt you. Just reposition a few things. I needed space." That's one word for it. She rubbed her temples like I was the one making this difficult. Travis wasn't supposed to be long-term. I laughed, quiet, sharp. "You were building a business with him." She looked up, finally. Eyes glassy but dry. "Okay," she snapped. "Fine. I made a mistake. Several. But this was nuclear. You've humiliated me." "No," I said. "You humiliated yourself." I just handed out the mirrors. I poured myself a drink. Didn't offer her one. "Do you remember," I asked, "our 5th anniversary?" She blinked. "The weekend trip to Asheville. You wore that mustard-colored scarf even though you hated how it looked in pictures." She smiled, almost. "Yeah. You told me you'd never felt safer in your life. That you didn't need anything but me and quiet mornings." Silence. "I meant it," she said softly. "I did too," I replied. "But you burned it. And now you want pity because the match caught your hand." She stood, shaky. "Are you divorcing me?" "No," I said, swirling the ice in my glass. "You are." "What?" "You're going to file. You're going to cite irreconcilable differences. You'll waive alimony. You'll walk away from my business stake." "Why would I do that?" she asked, voice flat. I turned to her fully. Calm. Cold. Unshakable. "Because if you don't, I release the rest." She swallowed hard. "The photos, the financials, the emails with Travis and 2 of your own board members. The full story of Eclipse Strategy Group. The secondary Dropbox folder. The voice memo where you called your VP a dead-eyed coward. I have it all." "You wouldn't." "I would. And you know what's worse? I wouldn't even make it public. I'd just send it privately, one recipient at a time. Donor. Partner, future employer, friend. She stared at me for a long time, then nodded, like someone who'd finally read the terms and conditions. The next morning, the papers were drafted. By 3 p.m., Amanda had signed. By 4 o'clock, her lawyer called mine with a single sentence: she won't fight. By 6 o'clock, she was gone. No suitcase. No goodbye. Just the soft click of the front door closing behind a woman who thought she was playing poker, when really, she was sitting at a chessboard, moving checkers. She always said I was too calm, too reserved, she'd sigh. Like you're watching instead of living. She was right. I was watching, but not like she thought. I wasn't watching life. I was watching her, studying, waiting. And when the time came, I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't rage. I just picked up the blueprint she handed me and built the end of our story with it. 3 weeks after Amanda moved out, the house was quieter than I expected. Not peaceful, not lonely, just quiet, like a stage after the curtain falls. Empty chairs, still air, the kind of silence that doesn't comfort, it listens. I walked through the living room one morning and found a single earring on the windowsill. One of hers. Gold, twisted, elegant. The kind she wore when she wanted to be noticed. She hadn't noticed she left it behind. Fitting, because now the house was a museum of careless details. Lipstick on a forgotten mug, 2 pairs of heels in the closet, a half-used bottle of perfume on the sink that still smelled like expensive apologies. I didn't throw anything out. Not yet. Some people burn the past. Me? I like to let it sit there. Cool. Harmless. Powerless. Like bones after the fire's done. Dina called me on a Tuesday. She didn't say hello. That wasn't her style. You made the news, she said. Page 4, business section. I pulled the paper up on my phone. There it was. Former exec resigns quietly amid financial inquiries. No name. No lawsuit. No arrest. But the undertone? Devastating. Amanda's image had been curated for years. Power, precision, polish. A woman who didn't crack. And now? She wasn't just cracked. She was faded. And in her world, image was everything. She's interviewing at a mid-tier firm in Seattle, Dina added. Smaller pond. Fewer sharks. Let her go, I said. You sure? We could sink the whole ship. I don't need her to drown. I just need her to swim smaller. Dina chuckled. Cold. Calculated. You scare me sometimes. Good. I wish I could say I moved on cleanly. That the revenge scratched the itch and life resumed like a well-oiled machine. But revenge doesn't restore you. It just clears the noise long enough for the real questions to echo. Who was I before her? Who was I during her? And who exactly was I now, standing in the ruins of a life I built with someone who spent half that time chiseling holes in the foundation? That's the thing people don't talk about when you win. You're still left standing in the ashes. Even if they're not your ashes. One night, I walked into the garage and stood in front of the box I hadn't opened in years. It was taped shut, labeled in black marker, wedding stuff. Not sentimental, just factual. Inside, our wedding album, the dried corsage from my mother's lapel, Amanda's vows typed and printed on parchment, she said felt more official. I stared at those vows for a long time. She had promised laughter, honesty, loyalty. The irony was so thick I could have smoked it. I didn't cry. I didn't rip the paper. I just folded it neatly, placed it back in the box, taped it shut again, and wrote a new label over the old one. False advertising. Friday, I got a call from Travis. Yep, that Travis. I didn't recognize the number. Picked up out of reflex. Hey, he said. Voice lower. Slower. No swagger left. Wrong number, I said. Wait, Logan, listen. I just want to say something. I stayed quiet. Silence is a language too. I didn't know she'd go that far. I thought we were just fun. I cut in. He sighed. Yeah, I repeated. You were. A long pause. Then, she used me too, you know. No, I said almost kindly. She didn't use you. She picked you. There's a difference. Click. I blocked the number. There was no anger in it. Just a final punctuation mark. That weekend, I hosted a dinner. First one in a while. Small group. My closest friends, people Amanda never quite liked. Probably because they saw her too clearly. We drank wine, laughed too loud, told old stories. They didn't ask about her. I didn't bring her up. But toward the end, my friend James raised a glass and said, to Logan, for finally living in a house without surveillance. We all laughed. Because it was true. Amanda had never trusted silence. She'd fill every room with noise. Music, small talk, false concern. But silence. That was my space. That's where I'd been watching, listening, learning. And now, I lived there freely. The real twist, though, I didn't feel victorious. I felt restored. Not because I'd won. Not because she lost. But because I didn't let her break me. She tried. Slowly. Subtly. Smiling while she twisted the knife and called it a massage. But I never collapsed. And that's the kind of revenge you don't need to advertise. Late Sunday night, I found one last thing. A handwritten letter. In Amanda's handwriting. No envelope. Just folded once, slipped behind a photo album in the back of the bookshelf. The date on it? 9 months before the fundraiser. It started with, "If you ever find this, I'm sorry." I didn't read the rest. I burned it in the sink. Watched the ink curl and vanish like it never mattered. Because whatever truth it held, it was already too late. I didn't need closure. I was the closure. It was Tuesday when she showed up. Not Amanda. That chapter was closed. This was someone else. Her name was Celine. I didn't recognize her face when I opened the door. Early 30s, sharp blazer, coffee in one hand, envelope in the other. But she said one name, and suddenly the air got still. Travis. I leaned against the frame. I don't loan him money, if that's what you're here for. She smirked. No, I'm his sister. That explained the resemblance. Jawline, eyes that looked like they had stories stapled behind them. She held out the envelope. He asked me to give you this. Said if you never took his call, this was plan B. I took it but didn't open it. I don't want anything, she said. But can I ask you something? Depends. What did she do to you? He never talked about it. Just said you were the calmest guy he'd ever met. Said it like it scared him. I thought for a second. She underestimated me, I said. She nodded like she understood. Most people do, she said, and turned to leave. Inside the envelope, a check for $50,000. Travis had sold his car, the condo, his stake in whatever fake business Amanda had pulled him into. There was a note. I never knew what she was capable of until I watched her lie to my face. You didn't just outsmart us. You saved me. I didn't cash the check. I shredded it. But I kept the note. Because even mistakes have their own kind of confession. By mid-April, I had stripped the house of every trace of Amanda. Not out of bitterness. Out of necessity. The bed frame gone. The art she picked to match the rug. Replaced with a vintage map of places I actually wanted to visit. But I kept one thing. The mirror in the hallway. The one she always checked before leaving. Now, I used it to remind myself what still stood. Who still stood. I wasn't broken. Just rebuilt. And with that came a strange new thing I hadn't felt in years. Momentum. I started running again. Not the jog around the block kind. I mean the good kind. The lung-burning, headphones blasting, demons chasing you down kind. And the better I felt, the more I realized how much of my life had been held hostage by someone who never intended to stay. One morning, I got a text from Dina. You're officially boring again. Proud of you. I smiled. Peace isn't loud. It's earned. It happened on a Thursday. Same day of the week Amanda first met Travis. Funny how those things stick. I was grabbing coffee at the place near my office. The one with the mismatched chairs and jazz playing too loud. I liked it. And that's where I met her. Not Amanda. Not Celine. Her. Emily. She was in line ahead of me, arguing politely with the barista about almond milk substitutions. She turned, rolled her eyes in mock despair, and said to no one in particular, God forbid you ask for one thing that isn't on their religion-approved menu. I laughed. She noticed. We talked. I told her I liked her boots. She told me she liked my silence. We didn't exchange numbers. Not that day. But 2 days later, she was there again. And this time, she sat across from me. It was easy. Not movie easy. Not soulmate easy. Just human. We talked about books. About music. She told me she once got fired for speaking her mind in a boardroom full of cowards. I told her I once got divorced because I stayed too quiet in a kitchen full of lies. We understood each other, not because we wanted the same things, but because we refused to keep things we didn't. That you've been waiting for the twist. The one where I burn everything to the ground. Salt the earth. Call the press. Expose Amanda completely. But here's the thing. I already did. Quietly. Not in headlines. In whispers. Amanda didn't get blacklisted. She got ignored. No one banned her. They just stopped calling. She's still somewhere out west. Seattle, I think. New job. Lower title. No control over budgets. The high-powered queen of nothing. She sends Christmas cards now. I don't open them. I just let them pile up, unopened, like unopened chapters of a book I no longer care to finish. Revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes, it's about reduction, taking someone who thought they were invincible and returning them to actual size. Amanda isn't suffering. She's just average now. And for someone who thrived on being admired, that's a deeper cut than anything I could have inflicted with fire or fame. As for me, I don't look back. Not because I'm afraid, because I already won. And if I ever doubt that, I open the drawer, pull out the letter Amanda never mailed, read the first line again. If you ever find this, I'm sorry. Then I close it, smile, and remind myself, I never found it. She left it where I could. And that right there, that was her final mistake.